Today I'm going to set up my tarp in the woods. Come along with me! Oh, when you're setting up a tarp, make sure that you're paying attention to where the widowmakers are. First of all, I'm going to find out if the trees are as far apart as I would like them to be. I'm 5'7", so let's go 5.5 feet, and from fingertip to fingertip is the same length as you are tall. So I generally estimate how far my trees are apart by using my arms. I'll touch the tree and I'll see just about where my fingers hover above the ground, and then I'll mark something on the ground. So there's a leaf there. Okay, there's a leaf right there. And that takes me about 11 feet. So that tree, that's about 12 feet, 12.5 feet maybe. The other one would be perfect with 15, because that's what I was aiming for, but yeah, I'm going to have to go with the 15. This is not going to work for me today. I found a location. Come along and see what I've got. Okay, so I'm going to start at this tree and measure out to the end of my fingertips. That takes me to here. Now I'm going to measure from that one to the end of my fingertips, and that takes me, oh, maybe about there. And then I've got a couple more feet. This will be fine. Wandering around in here, I'm tripping on this dog strangling vine, so I'm going to see if I can remove it. It's not coming up. There we go. I'm going to reduce my tripping hazard. I've gotten caught up in it a couple of times. That's a little better. Okay, now to get my tarp. Oh, it's Mama Bear without Mama Bear's backpack. Let me show you how I put this away. To start with, we'll show you how we load up the bag. To start with, you'll make a hank of cordage with your tie-outs. You don't want that all loose and wonky in the bottom of the bag. And it's basically a figure 8 stretched across your fingers until you get nearly to the end, maybe a foot or so from the end, and then you can wrap that and create a spot where you can tuck it in. I just stuff this tarp into the bag. The cordage that is on one end goes in the very bottom. And often when you're camping, you're going home with the tarp is wet anyways. So just shoving it in there works well. Okay, shove that all in there. Take your last end off and shove that in there too. I use a blue carabiner so that I always know that's at the top of the bag, facing the sky, blue carabiner. Okay, set this up at home. Try it in your backyard or in a local park and set up at home so you know that you can rely on it when you're out in the field. Okay, this is my new tarp. It is a Rab Siltarp3. It is about half the weight of the other tarp I was using, so this is about 1.5 pounds. I was able to shave that weight off of my pack, and that was why I purchased it. And this is a higher end price point. I think this is over $200. I'll link it in the description. No, I'm not. So what I've done is I have a carabiner on a loop, and then partway down, about the distance around a tree, I have another loop. I just go around the tree and I loop that on, and then I walk and my ridge line will fall out in place, and I will describe the other knots as I get to them. Okay, so I go around the tree, I find the loop in the cord, and that's that. And then I walk. My ridge line is on top here. It's exactly where I want it to be. Okay, I've got my other end here. I've made my ridge line a different color than the tie-outs so that I can quickly identify which rope is which. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to put a loop in it. Just a simple loop, just like tying a balloon. And it's big enough for all of the tail end to go through. If you have a hank, you want that to be big enough for the hank of wood cord to go through. Go around the tree, come back and go through that loop with your tail end. Give it a pull. You pull it tight, you pinch where the cord has gone through the loop, and then you fold your rope in half. You take that loop that you've created, the bite that you've created, and you go over your knot and you go back through with a half hitch. And you secure that. Now, because I'm concerned about it slipping, I'll go over that and I'll secure it again. So a double half hitch, that's it, that is snug. I have this set up with prusik knots that are attached, a prusik loop through the loop. So I can slide that back and forth. But if the wind pulls on it or if I trip on the darn thing, it's not going anywhere. So that's secure. And I'll move this one so it's also secure. And I'll move this one so it's also secure. And you can go back and you can adjust it as you need to make sure that it's nice and tight. I have another prusik knot tied on here to act as a drip line. Again, I'm using the gear top titanium pegs, and I'm going to peg out these corners directly to the ground for this part of it, just so you can see the tarp. This is a large tarp. This is like 12 by 12, I think. Okay, and it has 5 tie-outs along the length of it, which is perfect. To create the winter doors. I'm going to show you that right now. And normally I would have this up for my hammock. You take the second tie-out from the end. The second tie-out from the end. And this now can be folded inwards. And I have a carabiner on here, but you certainly can, my other end I think I have ropes on it. You just attach that, and as it hangs, you now have doors. You can bring this almost completely closed, or you can bring one end closer to a tree so that it's open and then the other end is completely closed. It reduces the wind flow through there. And people have been talking about whether there's a condensation problem inside of that, and there's still enough airflow that I've never had a condensation problem. I've been in the pouring rain with it and I've still not had a condensation problem, and I've been in the freezing temperatures and still no condensation problem. I suppose you could get a UCO candle and hang that in there, the UCO lantern that, you know, it'll warm it up just enough to prevent the condensation. I'll link all that stuff in the description below. But this is my Sil Rab and I love it. Now I'm going to go and undo the quick deploy method. You saw how fast that one went up. A big part of it is how you put it away. So this here I'm going to untie the one overhand knot, the one half hitch was very easy to untie. And then the second one unties like a pair of shoes. Give it a tug and it's undone. Okay, I'm going to make a hank again. I leave a tail end hanging out so that when you go to remove the hank you can see where the end of it is. Okay, bind that around itself, tuck it in, and shove that tarp back in the bag. I do color code my ridgeline separate from the color of my tie-outs. This same method would work if you had a poly tarp, one of the big heavy plastic ones, which is ultra budget, but you would set it up and probably instead of stuffing it, you would probably accordion fold it so that you have your leading end and you have your tailing end, and you can definitely accordion fold that, like folding a map. I don't know if that was a dog I heard or a raven. Okay, and to unclip, as simple as a beaner. I find a lot of stuff sacks are not tough enough, but this one is amazing. There we go. It's all in. So if I didn't want to go with the beaner, or if the beaner broke, or I had to cut my rope or whatever, I would still go with the loop in the end. I would bring it closer to the tree. I would just pinch a bit of the rope through. I would find a toggle. This one's covered in frozen bits, but it'll work. And I would just pull that tight on that. It has to be a firm stick though. You don't want something that's going to be loose. Now if you don't like that, you can, or if you're not comfortable completely with that, you can go around the tree again before you pull it away. So it just gives it an extra layer of tension. And that's that. That's not going anywhere. And you know how easy that is to release? Just like that, and I'm done. So I hope that one of these methods works for you, whether you're using a beaner or a toggle. Both are very quick, and both are very quick release. And when it's cold, or if it's storming and you need to get the hockey sticks out of there, then that'll work. And again, shove it all back in the bag with the blue beaner showing at the top so you can find your ridgeline quickly. Okay, here I'm going to demonstrate how the ridgeline will come across, and I'll create that other shape. So I come in with my line, and I've created, so my ridgeline's out here. I've created a loop in the line, and I just pass my line through. Just loose, the first one's just loose, and I can reef on that and it works. So it just pulls. Whatever the science of that is, lever and fulcrum kind of science, it just pulls. So now you have this loop, can you see that? Now you have this loop with a rope, a cordage going through it. So you're going to pull on that and you're going to pinch that right there. So you pinch that right there. So you take your tail end and you fold it. Run it over and back through and give it a tug, snug it down. And then again, I like to do it twice and snug it down. And that, you can tighten that down. So that's not going anywhere. But watch this. You can find the right cord. Undo that quite simply. Get your tail end. Give it a snug give it a tug and it comes undone. That's it. Thanks for sticking around, guys. Hit the subscribe and like button, and leave comments, please. I love the interaction and it helps YouTube to see me. Any links for my products are down below. I'll also put down the recording equipment I'm using today. Thanks a lot, guys.